Tiger Sports Network, and today we are welcoming head cross country coach and assistant track and field coach Craig Penney, and we're here to talk about his experience with Pelotonia. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
I guess, for me, I've had a number of situations where people have come down with cancer, and that's what this whole bike ride was for, was to raise money for that research. Unfortunately, I had two parents die last October on a Thursday and Friday, and it was very impactful on many different levels to me as a coach, kind of a mentor to those kids, but also they were a big part of our family, cross country and track. So that's how I really got involved with the Pelotonia, and to raise money for it was probably the biggest task. But once you reach out to people who this has affected directly, indirectly within their family, that was not a tough process. Then the next step for me was to train to get ready to ride for 100 miles, which is a huge undertaking if you haven't done it before. So I set up a training program with a couple other people here in Columbus and in Dayton, and we would kind of get together about once a week and do anywhere between 30 and 45, and we'd culminate our long ride with 60 miles the week before the ride itself. And going from London to Xenia and Xenia back to London was an experience. I'd never ridden more than like 35 or 40, but the overall experience was just fantastic. You get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're anxious, nervous, your anticipation, and there are 8,222 other riders. It was just a truly amazing experience, from when you register on Friday to the fundraising part to the show up again at 5:30 in the morning to get to the line and leave at 7. And just the anticipation was phenomenal. And then you get into the ride, and every 20 miles you have a chance to stop and gain food and kind of catch your breath. But the whole ride, there were people out there with signs. You saved my wife. You raised money for my son or my daughter that was affected by cancer. It was just a huge experience. You go through Granville and they're lining the streets, 1,000 people with signs and cheering, and people offering you water and whatever you might need in terms of assistance. It's still an emotional thing, but what you do on so many different levels is just a huge, huge part of my life at this point in time. In fact, we've already talked about doing 185 next year, which 100 on Saturday and 85 on Sunday. So I don't want to jump into it with a knee-jerk reaction, but it's something I really want to do because I want to, at some point, I really want to try and help make a bigger impact in research for cancer. Mm-hmm. It's just a huge part of what I try to do now.
So obviously, it's physically exhausting. So what is going through your mind and keeping you going through all that?
Well, as a coach, I tried to, the best way possible, take some of the philosophical things and mental games that I play with my athletes as well as myself. I didn't think of it as 100 miles. I thought of it as 5 times 20 miles. So I broke it down into 20-mile segments, which helped me not think too far ahead, and it really helped to have those breaks. Every 20 miles we could stop, get some food, kind of stretch a little bit, hydrate. And those were essential parts of it, because once you got to Granville High School, which was at the 45-mile mark, the next 55 was up and down hills. So I knew that going in because I'd done my research, and people had told me the last 55 was tough, and they also told me that at 95 there was a hill that would probably kick your butt, and that's exactly what happened. And I was all set mentally, but a couple people stopped in front of me and walked, and I had no place to go. So, but I fooled myself mentally by thinking it was 5 times 20 miles rather than a 100-mile ride.
Yeah, that sounds like a great coaching tactic. So obviously you're with a lot of your friends and you're experiencing this together, but for you personally, what was your greatest takeaway?
How many people I impacted. The 40 to 50 people that donated to my ride, the people that I knew across the course. I mean, I met some friends at Granville High School. There were some people that hollered at me when I was going through Granville. Just the overall impact of people at the finish line. Some of my kids on my team, their parents came for me. A photographer, Columbus, came, and she was covering the whole event, but she wanted to know where I was so they could take some pictures. just the whole thing. And then, you know, reaching out to my family and telling them I made it. That was cool. It really was emotional. And I talk to people now who have done it, who have asked me how I'm doing with the whole thing. I say, it's a huge part of what I've done and what I look forward to. And it's huge. And they go, this will live with you forever. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. Because one of the things that I did too was I put the names of the people that I was riding for. Other people on the ride had their names on their shirts or their sleeves, their arms, their legs. I just put it on my phone, which was my way of tracking what I was doing. And when I got into a bind or I got mentally fatigued or physically tired, I just looked at those names and said, this is why I'm doing it. So it was huge. It was good.
Yeah, that sounds like such an amazing experience and obviously a great learning moment. And so how are you going to use what you've experienced at Pelotonia here at Wittenberg in coaching?
Well, I think I've become more appreciative of what I have every day and how I have such an opportunity to make an impact on my athletes, how I can teach them and mentor them and give them opportunities to grow and have success. But also along the way, know that they're going to have some failures. And like anything, you know, we learn by those failures. I learned it 95 miles that, you know, it just kind of caught me in the ride. But I was able to get back on the bike and finish the whole thing. And that's kind of what I take away from coaching is my kids are having a bad day, so they're going to have bad races. But what can I do to help them pick themselves up for the next day to face that next challenge? Because running is a lot like life. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have hills, you're going to have valleys. You're going to have people with you along the way, and you're going to be isolated sometimes along the way. So to me, it was just a great learning experience, and being able to take some of those things that I endured and went through and apply that to what I do with my athletes is a huge part of how much I've grown. Even though I've done this for many, many years, I still continue to learn and apply things.
Oh, that's so awesome. I just want to thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today, and good luck the rest of your season.
Like I said, it's been a huge part of my life now. I'm going to look forward to riding some more. I was out Saturday doing 25 when I got back. So my next goal is 185, and we'll get ready for that. You know, as we move forward.
Definitely looking forward to hearing about that.
Sure. I really appreciate this opportunity because for all of us as coaches, there's more to our lives than going out and blowing the whistle or looking at a stopwatch. We, on many levels, have huge impact on our athletes and how they succeed and move forward with their careers as well. So this is something I do beyond coaching, and it's just been a big part of my life now.
Thank you so much, Coach.